Hello everybody, it's Philippa Blett here from Chris and Philly Functional Medicine, and I am on a big mission to end body burnout in high achieving parents for good. And today I wanted to talk about sleep and insomnia and the pandemic and lockdown. And very specifically about how my sleep became very affected when we first went into lockdown back in 2020. So if you've ever struggled with sleep, you'll agree with me that stress can turn you into an insomniac. Our whole world has literally been squeezed with an onslaught of stress over the past 18 months. There's the perpetual lockdowns, the financial pressures, keeping up with rapid change, homeschooling kids, COVID-19 sickness and fatalities, vaccines, mandatory vaccines, fear of the unknown. So many things going on right now. The Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine analysed Google Trends during the global pandemic, and it revealed that internet searches for insomnia dramatically increased by 58%, with most of the searches happening around 3 a.m. So data is showing that sleep issues are real, and considering the stats, it's highly likely you're personally experiencing this too. Am I right? So when I turned an insomniac, so let's go back to March 2020. Everything was going fine and dandy. In fact, life actually felt pretty cruisy for once. My business was going great. My littlest had started school. I had more time for myself and for my business. I felt like I was balancing all the balls quite beautifully. There's always something that then happens. You know, you're just waiting for something to happen, and it did. So lockdown happened. And I went into a state of fear and panic initially. I was thinking, how are we going to survive financially? What if all the food from the supermarket dries up, or the toilet paper? How was I going to pivot our businesses while also homeschooling our kids? So many questions, so many uncertainties. And for the first few weeks, I became completely insomniac. I couldn't fall asleep. I couldn't stay asleep. I laid in bed all night, tossing and turning, worrying about not sleeping, as well as everything else. And sure enough, all my old symptoms of anxiety and low immunity and body pain and fatigue and heartburn, which were doing really good at the time, they started creeping back in, and I couldn't handle the kids anymore. I was screaming and snappy. The dragon mum was back. I remember feeling my hands physically shaking all the time. I felt physically sick. My body did not function, or does not function at all, when I don't get good sleep. So luckily during this time I had my functional medicine toolkit to turn to, and I was able to get on top of my stress hormones and calm my nervous system down really quickly, which reversed that insomnia quite quickly. And I was sleeping soundly again, thank goodness. The interesting thing, however, was that since then, so since March 2020 and like my insomnia flare up, I've had to work really hard on the onion layers, or the root causes of my health issues, and be very mindful about my stress bucket to maintain optimal health. So over the last 18 months, if stress has gotten too high, or if my hormones started acting a bit funny, which actually happened a while ago when I started swimming in our local pool, my hormones went crazy, but that is another blog post for another day. But anyway, if I had things that, just weren't going quite right, sure enough, I would find myself tossing and turning in my sleep, waking at night, listening to Chris snoring. At the time, I actually tried to blame it on Chris's snoring. I'm like, just stop snoring. Why are you snoring? You keep waking me up. But I'm pretty sure he still snores when I do sleep. I just can't hear it when I'm deeply restorative sleeping. Because I'm in a deep sleep. So the lesson to learn here, both from me and also from anyone else who might be blaming your partner's snoring on you not being able to sleep, is that it's really a sign that your own sleep is not optimal. You actually should be able to sleep soundly if you're getting that deep restorative sleep. So there are countless articles, studies, and clinical evidence that is showing that sleep issues aren't just contained to lockdown, but that insomnia is persisting post-lockdown worldwide at this time. So research even links this global pandemic is causing PTSD, which can really cause havoc to your sleep. And this isn't just during lockdown, it's when we come back out and, we're trying to deal with all sorts of stuff. There's lots of change, there's a lot of things going on. So what's the link between stress and sleeplessness? We all know, I'm sure to some extent, that stress affects sleep, but why? So when you are super stressed, you start secreting an excess amount of cortisol, or your stress hormones, which are secreted in your adrenal glands. Now, when cortisol is charging through your system, it causes melatonin, your sleepy hormone, to suppress. So low melatonin will always lead to poor sleep. And stress can also quickly deplete your neurotransmitters, such as serotonin, which is a brain chemical that is so essential for restorative sleep. The good thing is, if that sleep is acute, your body will calm down and melatonin and serotonin will start producing appropriately again. However, if there is a prolonged amount of stress, such as during the global pandemic for many people, what is it, 18 months so far already, your hormones and your brain chemicals can become so depleted and so out of balance that it can cause chronic, long-lasting sleep issues that are really difficult to reset unless you do deep healing of the body's physiological imbalances, and also address the root causes as to why those body systems are burnt down in the first place. And just so that you're aware, stress comes from many forms. A lot of people initially think about stress just being like emotional stress. There might actually be some people in this pandemic who don't have emotional stress, but stress comes in many, many forms. So there's emotional stress, mental stress, physical stress like sickness and injury and exercise, too much, too little. There's also environmental stresses like toxins and mold and EMFs. There's dietary stresses, temperature stress, and then there's that hidden inflammation inside your body like gut pathogens, heavy metals, things that you would have no idea that they are there unless you're actually testing for them. So imagine if you had already had many of these stresses lingering in and around you, and then a big life event stressor bombards you. It is literally a recipe set up for a sleep disaster, which is why we're seeing so many sleep issues during this pandemic. It's not that the pandemic it flared the sleep issues up, is that a lot of people are just, their body systems are so out of balance anyway that this big stressor tipped them over the edge and led to insomnia and other health issues. So what can you do to restore sleep? That is the big question, because I truly believe you can. Your body wants to heal. If you are struggling with sleep, I deeply see you. I know your pains. I know how debilitating insomnia can be and how difficult it is to parent and to function throughout the day at work when your body is so exhausted and literally feeling like it's falling apart. I have the deepest empathy for you suffering sleepers. It is just the worst and it is so crippling. So here are some things you can do to start restoring your sleep. Number one, only control what you can control. So anxiety occurs when you start worrying about things that are outside of your control. So I'd suggest grabbing a piece of paper, make a list of all the things that are worrying you, and highlight the stresses that you can control and start working on those and ditch the other stuff. As the saying goes, worrying is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it never gets you anywhere. So you prioritize what you're going to actually start working on and what things you can actually change. Number two, big one, is establishing relaxation techniques. So work into your bedtime routine, relaxation techniques to help clear your mind of stress. Chris has actually created a hypnotic induction recording called Clearing the Now that works beautifully to clear all the clutter and noise in your mind, and it can lead to better sleep. So you can actually access that recording on our YouTube channel. Use light also to restore melatonin. So light is so powerful. Sunlight and darkness is incredibly powerful at restoring burnt out melatonin. And I've actually created a 3-day sleep detox program to help you heal melatonin and achieve optimal sleep naturally. If you jump over to our latest blog post about this topic, you can find a download button where you can actually download this 3-day sleep detox program as a gift from me. It is completely free and it would change your life. Number 4, get to the root cause of poor sleep. Yes, it's probably evident to you if you read this far that your stress levels are linked to poor sleep, but what other stresses or root causes could be at play in your insomnia? I've created an assessment that identifies the contributing factors and root causes of body burnout, and there's a section in the assessment specifically for sleep too. So I'd encourage you to, I'll try and put this link in the YouTube channel, but you can do this body burnout assessment, and it can show you all those weak points that may be affecting your sleep, and a lot of these things you actually have the control in changing. And number 5, sign up to our, it's called our Your Essential Pandemic Toolkit course. If some of your worry is around immune health, vaccinations, or actually catching COVID, you will find our Vaccines and COVID course very helpful. I run this masterclass live a couple of weeks back, and I had a lot of people asking for the recording. So I actually turned the masterclass, I think it ended up being about a 3-hour masterclass, into an info-packed course with exactly what you need to build a healthy immune system. There's also protocols for before and after vaccines to support a healthy immune response, and also a what to do, exactly what you need to do if you do get sick with COVID, in addition to medical advice. And I want every family to have this cool toolkit in their home, regardless of what you've chosen around how to protect yourself from COVID. This is an essential toolkit, if not just knowing exactly what to do if you do get sick. Which is where a lot of people's stress and worry, I feel, is at this time. So you can also sign up for that course on our website. And hopefully you found some of this valuable. I know a lot of our how-to health tips are linked to different areas. All of those things are free resources that I would love you to use so that you can achieve beautiful, happy sleep to heal your body burnout. Thank you. Let me know if you have any questions.